Hello everybody, I am Ben from Team Panic, and if you've been around this channel for a little while, you will know that quite a while ago I built a fairly nasty ant weight vertical spinner called This Is a Party, and I ran that all the way up until 4.5 years ago when I retired it, I think after a Havoc at one point, but now it's back and I took it to January's ARC ant weight meet. Let's take a look at how it did. So there's a couple of very quick changes to go over. First of all, the old design used a carbon fiber drone arm to hold the weapon in, and I've just 3D printed this one. And that's about it. That's basically all that has changed on this robot. Let's see if a design that is more than 5 years old can compete in the current meta. And we're going to start that off with a robot called Swipe Left. Oh yeah, hang on, we need to... Match pause. Good name up, William. Yeah, hang on.
10, 9, 8.
It's kind of, it's something. Okay, off to a very, very, very bad start here. I had forgotten how tightly packed the electronics are in This Is a Party, and I had like not really accounted for it too well, and I packed the electronics into this build so tight, I actually snapped a capacitor off the driver ESC on one side of drive, so I started this fight without one wheel. Basically, that is how this fight started. It was just bad. And that was all my fault. I had driven it around in my test box here at home in testing, everything was fine, but on that particular day I'd repacked the wiring and everything in it, and yeah, overdone it effectively, breaking that drive wheel entirely. So this fight was just a wash almost because of that. We also had to pause the fight for a brief second there because William Wagtail had launched Blade Tip over the wall, and therefore we had an obstruction in our fight, so we had to remove Blade Tip from our fight before continuing on. But as you can see from that very quick fight, there wasn't a whole lot I could really do. The only really interesting thing for me here is that the blade started wobbling, or the robot started just ever so slightly bouncing, which I think means that the particular blade that I put on isn't perfectly balanced. So for a new iteration of that, I'm definitely going to have to sit down with a prop balancer and balance up all of my weapons, because that did not help us. Although having said that, the other thing that didn't help us in this fight is that we lost the tire tread off the wheel that actually could touch the ground. So that causes two problems. One, it forces that side of the robot lower and it doesn't have any traction, and that means that the weapon placement is in the wrong spot as well, because this whole robot is designed to be on two wheels and those two wheels to be an exact size so that the weapon doesn't touch the ground. And look, in fact, some of the bouncing may have been weapon touching the ground. In any case, it was all just bad. So not a great first showing for a robot that I did pretty well with 5 years ago. But that is mostly on me and my rebuild, not on the caliber of robots. So between fights, I then obviously had to swap out drive motors, but I also meant I was running slower. The original version was running on 30:1 N20s. I did not have any of those with the ESC on the back of them, or another one to swap in, so I had to swap down to 50:1s, which meant I was running just that little bit slower than I would have liked to going into the next fight. And the next fight up is against a robot called Buzz. This is a vertical saw robot.
Being so rude. I need to... Drove up the wall because of this. What the heck? Dude, what the? A switch. Take that.
It's not that it's lost, it's that there is my battery wire right in the path of the weapon. If I turn it on, I will turn myself back off again. Oh no, it's buried right back in there. He needs to get through the Hardox bar to get it, but he's not going to do that. I don't know.
Wait, I need to flip myself.
Well, neither weapon is working, so I think to the death is a little,
9, 8, 7, 6.
How come the pits didn't go down?
we don't know.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, so that fight started better, a lot better. We got a nice run of jabs at Buzz and kept hitting him repeatedly. He kept hitting me back a little bit, but there didn't seem to be any real damage on my robot. I was a little bit worried about his saw snagging a wire, but with the way I've routed all the wiring, especially near the weapon in this particular version of This Is a Party, it actually turned out to be pretty okay, and it seemed to work pretty nicely. The only thing that was slightly annoying was I was not getting anything other than jabs. This Is a Party of days old was totally capable of throwing robots a meter into the air, and I was getting good clean shots on him and just kind of doop, or like flipping him over and flipping him back again, which he wasn't enjoying. He didn't like that particularly, but it wasn't the hits that I was really expecting out of This Is a Party. I'm really not entirely sure why that happened, because all of the front end geometry should be exactly the same. The only thing that has changed is that weapon mount, which may mean that weapon mount is in a slightly different spot to where the drone arm was. It might be sitting slightly higher or slightly lower, changing the bite of the weapon, meaning I'm not getting the engagement that I really want out of the weapon. I don't know, to be honest. All I know is that this fight just showed that the kind of massive hits that I'm used to getting out of This Is a Party is not what I'm getting now, and something needs to change. Having said all that, it was still way better than Fight 1. We actually moved for a start and could drive in straight lines, although my driving for this particular robot needs a bit of work. It has been a little while since I've driven a vert, so I'm still not fully used to it again. Definitely something I want to work on if I keep This Is a Party around into the foreseeable future. I don't know yet. It's an interesting design and I do like it, and I think there are some things I can optimize on it now, so maybe it will stick around for a little bit. Also, as you saw there, the pit did not come down at all during this fight, which meant that the fight ended up as a draw, which was a bit interesting. It did actually turn out after the event that there was a loose wire preventing the pit from coming down, and that happened at some point during this fight. Also, you saw my weapon spin down. That was because, again, there is quite a tight electronics pack in the back of This Is a Party, and every time I need to futz with something, I have to repack it and it gets packed back down slightly differently. In this particular case, the battery wire wasn't in where it needed to be and it wiggled itself loose and out into the path of the weapon, which was not great. And thankfully though, I could see that from the outside. When the weapon stopped, I saw the obstruction and was like, right, we're just leaving the weapon off here because yikes, do not want to cut through my battery connector. That is a quick way to destroy a battery and definitely be out of a fight. So it was definitely best just to leave that off and not touch it, which made using This Is a Party into kind of a shoving robot, which it really is not designed for. Thankfully, for most of that, he was upside down and couldn't use his weapon either, so we kind of got away with it for the most part. Having said that though, a draw and a loss is not really where I wanted to be, but at least things are on the up and up. We actually survived a full fight this time. Hopefully we can carry that through into the next one. Speaking of, we're going up against another vert. This one is called Hornet, and it's a very low, very fast vert.
Best of luck, sir. You too. Come back here. No.
Boy, he's a fast one. He really zips all over the place in the arena. Going into this fight was a little bit like, this was the fight I really wanted because Hornet is definitely a kind of new meta vert, and I really wanted to see how my reach versus his speed would play out. And in the first couple of exchanges, it played out my way. I got the first 2 hits off really well. That seemed to help, and it kind of unstabilized him, and I was like, cool, we're on a good path here. Like, this could be what we want, and this could be our first win. And then he turned the tables. He immediately got himself upright again and slammed into one of my wheels, breaking it entirely. Well, breaking a section out of it anyway, which is not good. It definitely does not help with the whole drive of the robot. Also, being that I was on the slower drive system, I just couldn't keep up with him, and he was driving circles around me left, right, and center. And with a broken wheel, that doesn't help that at all, especially when you start wobbling around because you've got a section missing out of your tire. Yeah, and then he turned around and of course actually got that tire off. So again, we're at this situation where one side of the robot is lower than the other, which pushes the weapon out of kilter, and things just don't really work as well in that particular geometry. So we just had problems. These are Pololu wheels that I'm running on This Is a Party. I've been running them on my robots for a while, and I haven't actually had that many issues with them coming off until this event. I don't know if it's the fact that the glue that I've used has changed formula or something, but it just did not stick anywhere near as well as it has in the past. So I think I need to do something about that. Probably start molding my own wheels again. The problem is at the moment, This Is a Party is maxed out on weight. It is 151 grams, which is within our like weight allowance for ARC. So for me to make my own wheels, that means adding weight to the wheels, which means changing something else about the design. I don't know what I'm going to change yet. We'll see as we move forwards, but I definitely need wheels that are more resilient and don't have the tires come off. So probably mold in place tires, I reckon, because that was a big component of this fight. Once I had a tire off, I was out of it, basically. I mean, this is a driving fight through and through, and I was completely outdriven from the jump here. He has the speed and he knows how to drive that robot at that speed, and he did a very, very good job after that initial flurry of keeping me off guard and hitting me where he wanted to hit me. So yeah, we just didn't do very well. I'll also say I think I need to redesign the front scoop as well, because he got under me at various points where I didn't think he should have been able to get under me, and that is definitely worth some thought, because yeah, I think a lower, more ground gamey front end is in the works here, because otherwise I'm not ever going to actually be able to fight a robot like that. So yeah, that was it for our round robin group. We ended up on 2 losses and a draw, which is not exactly the grand achievement coming back party for This Is a Party that I was hoping. But of course, to get what I need to do for This Is a Party, I need damage on This Is a Party. And there's no way to damage a robot quite like a Rumble.
Destructive everywhere. Someone's missing a wheel. What happened? Someone help him. Someone help him. Try. Oh, no.
Thank you.
Oh, but now you have to go down. I also don't want to be there. He killed himself. That was getting aggressive. He's going down. Oh no!
I'm getting spotted.
What's the blue one doing? The blue one's just hiding in the corner.
Nathan's over in the corner, yeah.
No! It's destroying his party. The blue one's just going.
I think I stuck the landing. Still a minute.
Why is it going quiet in there? Nice thing. Don't waste, still can.
No, the arena.
Give him a minute. Yeah, something's quiet, kind of. There we go. Oh. Breathing the air. Oh, jeez. Yeah, finally it's quiet.
He's trying to expand the arena.
I like Yes, more sparks. Give me some piece of sparks.
20 seconds remaining.
He's still stuck in there.
And there it is, there's the damage that we wanted. Now, first of all, the same thing I just complained about in the last fight with the tires coming off the wheels happened again here, so that's definitely a thing that we need to change, which again means redistributing weight in the robot somehow. I don't really want to get rid of weapon weight, so we're gonna have to find other weight somewhere else in the design. It is going to be interesting how we do that, because again, it is quite a tight pack of electronics in there. So I don't know, something's got to give here and I need to work out what that is, but we need better wheels on this robot. It just does not work otherwise. Again, I also had the issue of hits not fully landing the way I was expecting them to. It's something I want to chase down. It may be these new brushless motors that I've put in. It might be worth changing different brushless motors, going up speed and down speed, and just kind of tweaking and testing some different brushless motors just to see what we can get out of things, because yeah, what we had there was no good. We don't want a repeat performance of that. Like the hits I was getting wasn't great. I mean, that could also be down to a front end problem as well. It may be that changing up the front end will give us back some of the bite that we used to have. Maybe, we'll see. Something to think about anyway. And then of course, the big one, we broke the weapon mount. Now this was a 3D printed weapon mount. I'd printed a decent amount of plastic into it to try and get it to hold. It did seem to do the job mostly, but it did end up breaking. Now, the break style was across the layer lines, which to me indicates that we are like maxing out the strength of a 3D printed part with that thing. So adding more plastic into that, one, adds more weight, which we're trying to cut weight right now, and two, isn't going to make much difference because we're cutting through solid plastic anyway to break that particular piece. So I need to do something differently with the weapon mount, I feel, change that material out again. I'd maybe go back to the carbon fiber drone arms, but my stockpiles of those are very limited, and they were a thing that I bought like 20 of because they were on sale, because that drone was going out of style, and so I cannot get any more. I think I've got maybe half a dozen left, and then if I run out of those, then This Is a Party dies entirely. So we need a better solution to that problem than to go back to the carbon fiber drone arms. So I'll need to find anything else effectively. The interesting thing though about the weapon breakage there, or the weapon arm breakage, was that it wasn't a shot by any of my competitors. I mean, they had hit me around a decent amount. It was actually being upside down and the weapon hitting the floor that broke that arm. So it's possible that there was fatigue over the day and that was the straw that broke the camel's back. But it was interesting that it was a self-inflicted injury that actually did that, and it wasn't being sideswiped by a horizontal that actually knocked that particular piece out. So I don't really, like I said, it needs something stronger in that position, but hopefully maybe not a carbon fiber drone arm. Anyway, that is going to be it for this video. I hope you have enjoyed that one, and I will see you in the next video.